I'm walking through a ghost town, y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong, don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page, but we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay. Mississippi Racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi Racer riding out till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi Racer riding out, wheels stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi Racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay. Red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, it is Guard E3, and welcome to Sideline to Sideline. But before we get into all the fun topics, let's meet the rest of the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, off to my left, or maybe it's my right, getting a little mixed up here, but that's okay. It is the man you all know as the Prince of Production, biggest Boston fan, in Wire to Wire, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kyle Edwards. How you doing, Kyle?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate the intro. Love that. I'm good. Just glad to be here talking NFL with you guys. Closer to the season. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, underneath him, just got off Birds Deep. That's back. You should check it out right before the show. But ladies and gentlemen, we ain't checking it down with E. Godfrey. We taking it deep with the Godfrey. Ladies and gentlemen, Godfrey, how you doing today, sir?
What's up? My mic was down. That's all right. We're good now. So, doing all right. Excited to preview the AFC East and NFC East today, and talk about some teams that usually prick most of the population, nerves. The East Coast teams, the East Coast bias. We get to play with that today, so full effect.
Oh, fair enough. And of course, the man that makes this all happen. He is the invisible hand behind Wire to Wire. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the NFL genius himself. It's Gene Walzak. Gene, how you doing today?
What's popping? I'm fired up. We're going to talk about the NFL Top 100. We're going to talk about the NFC East, the AFC East, over-unders. I am fired up. Ready to rock and roll, fellas. Appreciate y'all in the chat. See y'all checking in. Appreciate everybody. All right. My man Chase already there. Someone get the damn dog. I hear you, bro. It's both of them. It's Guardy 3. It's Godfrey. They love their dogs, and I respect it. So, but you know what the thing is? I play softball with Godfrey. I've been on a lot of shows with Guardy 3. You know what all that means is? They got that dog in them. That dog mentality. All right, but before we get in the over-under, you know what? I changed my mind. I just changed my mind. I want to do the over-unders first, and I want to do the top 100 second. Are we all right with that?
Yeah.
Because I want to end on that, like debate. We can kind of have that conversation. We're going to start in the AFC East. I'm sorry, Kyle, but the NFC East is going to be the main event. You got two Eagles fans on the show.
Yeah, I understand. All good.
And where are we going to start in the AFC East? We're going to start with the lowest win total in the NFL. The New England Patriots. The Patriots win total over under is at 4.5. I almost think that's somewhat disrespectful. I think that's a wild statement to say that they're going to be 4.5 as their over under. But when you look at their schedule and you look at their quarterback, hey, Kyle, I want to ask you a question, and I mean this when I say it. What position group do you think you have a top 10 talent? Like
Position
what?
group,
Like
top 10
obviously not quarterback, right? Well, it was obviously not quarterback. Probably
Mhm.
not running back. Ramondre Stevens is not a top 10 back.
I can agree with that.
Definitely not wide receiver.
No.
Definitely not offensive line anymore.
Nope.
Defensive line after losing Judon, probably not.
Yeah, and Barmore had the health scare too, so yeah, missing him as well.
And my man Titans Rossi in the chat. Appreciate you, brother, for checking in. We're gonna get. Oh, by the way, he's gonna be on next week. Hopefully, we're talking to him. I'm begging him. My man, I am on my. He's gonna be on next week. Hopefully, we'll talk about it. I got to finish the conversation. Been a very busy week, but linebacking core, Patriots top 10 in the NFL.
Nope.
Secondary.
I mean, that is their best position group. but
100% the best position.
Yeah. I mean, look, Christian Gonzalez is pretty good, but he missed so much time last year. You can't really rate him that high. I mean, I love Jabril Peppers, but I don't think he's up there probably in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so probably not a top 10.
I mean, you got Duggar, you got Jonathan Jones. I feel like they're both good football players. My man stays down. Let's do it. If you haven't, this is the biggest Titans fan. Him and Jory need to link up, talk, have conversations about Titans football. Like, check out Titans Rossi. The guy's the man, but that's besides the point. Let's get back to the Patriots. Over under 4.5. Kyle, I'm starting with you. You have to pick your team to go over 4.5 wins. You have to.
Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. I like it. Give me the reasons.
I mean,
come on, bro. This is your time.
I feel like their defense as a whole, I feel like they're pretty good. Even without Matt Judon, I do think that move was done because of Keon White, who, at times last year looked pretty good. I feel like the message that Gerard Mayo and them have been preaching is like, give young players an opportunity. So moving Judon gives Keon White an opportunity to start. The wide receiver group, I don't think it's one that doesn't like jump off the page with big names, but I also like that they have young players there, and I'm excited to see what they can do between Polk, Baker, Douglas from last year. Like those are three guys who I'm intrigued to see. They got rid of Juju. Love that. Why did they do that? To give Polk and Baker more of an opportunity, even though Juju's probably going to get hurt by week 3 or 4 anyway. But like, I know it's going to be a rough year for the Patriots, but I do think like defensively, they should be able to slow down some offenses enough that I think Brissett will be steady at quarterback until May is ready to take over. May is looking better like week by week. The biggest thing is going to be the O-line. That's obviously my biggest like trepidation is like their O-line is so unproven that if they're just a complete mess, then yeah, they'll probably make that 4.5 look a lot better. But I have to take the over only because I think the defense will be good enough that they'll be able to get past 4.5 wins.
By the way,
Gerard Mayo knows what he's doing on that side of the ball.
I'm not calling you a devil, Jory, but speak of the devil and she will appear. Jory, Titans Rossi, Jory, Titans Rossi meet each other. I'm kidding, but I'm going to convince the other two hosts on this panel to side with me. I'm going with the under 4.5. And it's nothing against the Patriots. They've been great for years. But like I do this every time we do an over-under. I look at she loves him, by the way. Follows him already. So easy. He's going to be on the show next week. So you can tune in and listen to him. But I look at the Titans. The Patriots schedule, and I find hard-pressed to find 5 wins. And I'm going to just go through it in my head. We're not going to go through a win-loss for everybody. But they're going to lose at Cincinnati week 1. They have an opportunity to get a win week 2 at home versus Seattle. I just think they're too fresh. I think if they play Seattle week 10, week 11, week 12, they win that game, right? Then they got to play at the Jets. They lose. At Frisco, they lose. The Dolphins beat them every time they play them now. The Houston Texans are a playoff team. The Jaguars, in New England. Could that be a win? I don't know. No, actually, that's not even in New England. I think the game's in London.
A London game.
The London game. That's Jacksonville's second home. Then they play the Jets again, loss. At the Titans, loss. At the Bears, loss. At home versus the Chargers, Rams, that could be a win. At Miami, loss. It could beat Indianapolis at home. At Arizona, if you want to win that game, maybe you want it to be home. I don't know. At Buffalo, at home versus the Chargers, and then at home versus Buffalo. I look at that schedule, man, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't see it. So I'm going to go under. I think they go 3-14. That's kind of where my head's at. And I'm sorry, but I completely
understand it. I completely understand. Like, even as a Patriots fan, yeah, even as a Patriots fan, I look at that schedule and I go, for a last place team last year, like, that is a ridiculously tough one. And even within the division, you know, they normally play Buffalo tough one of those games, but even then, like, do they have enough to necessarily beat them? Like, I'll probably say that they probably split with Buffalo because they just find ways to do that every year. The Miami one is a little interesting because, you know, it seems like Miami should be like the class of the division.
Has Tua lost to them yet? I don't think Tua has a loss versus the Dolphins.
That's actually a good question. I
think he's undefeated.
Don't think he has. I think he is undefeated. Look, I like I said, I understand it because there's so many question marks with New England. It's really hard to see them beating a lot of those teams. I mean, look, you said like the Bears would be a loss. I mean, we don't know what the Bears will look like with Caleb Williams, young quarterback. We don't know. You know, Gerard Mayo did learn under Belichick. He loves confusing young quarterbacks, we assume. So you never know. But look, I'm going over because, like I said, I mean, like you said, as a Patriots fan, I can't sit here and predict like a 3-win season. I'm also not going to say they're going to be like a 12-win team either. Like, I feel like they could probably get 6-7 wins if everything comes together. That's kind of where I'm at. If everything comes together, like the offensive line is like legitimately better than last year with some of the guys that they drafted. If May continues his development and Brissett is just steady until he's ready to go, because I think Ramondre Stevenson is a really good running back, but obviously if the offensive line isn't good enough for him, he's going to be a net negative. So that's what I'm looking at. The offensive line, I just need them to be competent this year. Last year they were horrific.
Godfrey, what do you guys want?
It sounds like Kyle's in bankruptcy court when he's talking about his team right now. And I just, and I don't mean to mean saying that, but listen, part of the problem with the Patriots as the talent cupboard didn't get restocked the last couple of years. They're bare, man. And, as good as the defense might be able to do or hold up, defense can't hold up when the offense isn't moving the ball. And I just don't see offensively how they're going to score the points. Judon's gone, he's not the whole team. Yes. But if your pass rush can't really get home quick enough, even the best corner gets exposed. So it's going to be tough for them to get over that 4.5, man. I mean, they make the line hard, the over under hard to decide on purpose. I mean, that's the perfect number to put it at, right? But I'm gonna have to go under. I have to. There's no reason I just don't know what to expect from Gerard Mayo. Man, it's just tough.
I want a 3-1 sweep. Cardi 3, bring it home for me.
Yeah, I was kind of undergoing into this whole thing. I think if it breaks right, they could get to 5 wins. So I think there's a possibility of an over. But with this offense, I just don't see it. I think the defense will be really good this year. I think he'll have this defense ready to play. And just to piggyback off what Godfrey said, I just don't see where the points are coming from. I don't know if they'll be able to keep the defense off the field and just not have them gassed every game by the middle of the third quarter. So I'm going to go the under. I think they win. I'll say they win 4 games.
Okay. So I want to ask you guys a question real quick. And I know you guys don't do this too often, so I'm hoping you didn't do it this week. Have any of you three looked at the over-unders for the other 3 teams in this division yet?
Nope.
Good. Who do you think has the highest over-under in this division? Jets, Bills, Dolphins. 2 teams have a 9.5 over-under. 1 team has a 10.5 over-under.
I want to say it should be the Dolphins with
It's
the
probably
10.5,
isn't it? Is it the Bills?
but I'm going to predict that it's the Jets.
Okay. So you're predicting the Jets. Kyle said the Dolphins.
I'll go Bills because I mean the Jets should have the highest, but I just feel like it's relevant because they don't for some reason. So
Anthony says the Bills. Derek says the Jets. No one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills have a 10.5 over-under this year. I'm going to go through their depth chart in a minute, but we're going to lead up to that. Let's start with the New York Football Jets. 9.5 over-under. Aaron Rodgers. Do the Jets win 10 football games? Me and Kyle were on the other side of the coin last year on this. He thought the Jets were a little overhyped. I thought the Jets were going to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt 4 games into the season. I guess we could say I was wrong, but I don't count that. I don't count it. I look at it as a watch.
4 seconds into the season, he got hurt. Now give 4 seconds.
3 plays.
Yeah,
3
plays.
Yeah.
I count the kickoff as 1, so it was 4 plays. All right, leave me alone. But I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm not a Jets fan. But I'll start with this one. I'm going back to the well. I think they figure something out with Hassan Reddick. I think he figures out a way to get camp. I love what the Jets did this offseason. Love. Let me explain. Tyron Smith, left tackle, Dallas Cowboys, brought him in to be Rodgers' blindside. Morgan Moses, right tackle, brought him in from the Ravens. Elijah Vera Tucker, first-round draft pick at right guard. This team just made sure their offensive line was loaded up. And guess what they drafted in the first round? Penn State's own Olu Fashanu, another tackle. They are loaded at the offensive line position this year. You have Breece Hall ready for a breakout year. Garrett Wilson, who has 2 1,000-yard seasons with Zach the trash can Wilson throwing the football. They bring in Mike Williams. And by the way, starting slot receiver for the Jets right now, yeah, that's right. Last year's Hard Knocks, Xavier Gibson. I love the draft pick of Malachi Corley in the 2nd round for the Jets to get an extra wide receiver in there. And that defense with Robert Saleh is going to be incredible. Quinnen Williams, Son Reddick, Javon Kinlaw, Jermaine Johnson, former first-round draft pick, Sauce Gardner. They might have the best cornerback tandem in football with Sauce and DJ Green. The New York Jets are my prediction to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. So I'm going over. That's an obvious one for me. Cardi 3.
I mean, look. Okay.
We'll get right to you, I promise.
Yeah, last year I went bold on the Jets too, and I was thinking the same thing. I think they'll get way over, and I'll double down. I think they get 13 wins. I think they go absolutely ballistic, and I think they sweep their division games this year. So,
Sweep.
Yep, they're gonna sweep them. So I'm going bold. Jets over.
I'm gonna go over. I don't know about if I'm going 13, but we're at what's it 10.5?
9.5.
Oh, 9. Yeah, give me over. 10 wins.
Kyle, come on, be on the other side.
That's a layup.
I want the rivalry again.
Look, okay, so I think I'm gonna go over. I think they get to 10. I'm not going Super Bowl or anything. I'm keeping that part. I think they're a one and done in the playoffs. I think they're a wild card team that gets knocked off by one of the division winners. I do think that if Rodgers does play the whole season, they should be a 10-win team. Now, you also have to wonder, how long before, Garrett Wilson runs the wrong route, he starts doing his thing, we see Randall Cobb magically appear because he's working with SEC Network, like week 3 or 4, we see him hanging around the Jets facility. Like, I just feel like that's going to happen.
Oh, he's retired?
I think he hasn't like officially retired, but he's going to work for like the SEC Network because he's not on a team right now.
I thought it's a package deal with Rodgers.
Cobb, yeah.
Cobb has to be anywhere he is.
Cobb's gone.
Is Lazard still there?
He's gone for now. Yeah, Lazard's still there. I mean, look, you look at them on paper, they have the talent that's there. The defense, like you said, is definitely really good. So I can't sit here and say they're going to go under 9.5. I've predicted before like them as a wild card team. I just can't put them in the Super Bowl. I don't see that from an Aaron Rodgers led team in 2024.
Would your worst nightmare be Ravens Jets AFC Championship game?
That is absolutely my nightmare scenario. Yes.
By the way, Anthony, I do not have Rodgers as my MVP. I will give you a sneak peek on that shortly. But Guardy 3, you have him over also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We all have him over. Miami Dolphins, 9.5. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. Has anybody else looked at the Dolphins schedule? Anybody here play fantasy football?
I will. Yeah. I haven't done my roster yet, but
draft Tyreek Hill and trade him right before fantasy playoffs. Like your trade deadline, whenever the trade deadline is, trade him. The Dolphins schedule starts off so easy, and then it ends like with Murderer's Row. And like I just want to go over the Dolphins schedule, you guys. Just I'll be quick, I promise. They start off super easy, in my opinion. They go Jaguars at home. I think that's a win. They play Buffalo at home. Tough game, fine. Seattle, Tennessee, New England, the Colts, the Cardinals, and then they play at Buffalo. Tough game. Rams, Raiders, Patriots. Now watch this. Last 6 games of the season. I want you to think about Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Hill only. They play at Yair Alexander, at Green Bay. Home versus Sauce Gardner, at Derek Stingley. Home versus the 49ers, at the Browns, at Sauce Gardner. The end of that schedule is wild. I'm going 10-7 for the Miami Dolphins, which puts me over 9.5. Kyle, I'm going to go to you second here.
Yeah, I'm right there. I do think that they probably win the division, but I do understand like that last stretch of games, like they better feast early on. If they struggle early on, I'm not expecting them to all of a sudden galvanize and run through that last like 6 games or so and all of a sudden be really good. Because based off of last year, they slowed down at the end of last year as well, and they didn't even play that tough of a schedule. So I can't necessarily believe in them this year either.
I think of the cold weather games they have down this stretch. They play at Green Bay at the end of November. It's pretty cold there, Brett. Am I right? It's a little cold there at the end of November.
Oh, yeah.
They play the Browns at the end of December. They play at the Jets. Like, that's cold weather. The Dolphins don't show up there. I think that's loss. All 3 of those games.
I mean, now, Tua not showing up, though? I mean, Tariq played in cold weather at KC all the time, right?
I understand that, but there's got to be a guy that throws the ball.
Yeah.
Where do you got him? Over, under? 9.5.
Under. I think they're soft as baby poop, and they have some missteps. It's just how I look at that team. I don't know what have they really done to restock the cupboard defensively, right? Not a ton. They lost people. I don't. We'll see how that translates. I know they weren't into Fangio, but all I hear is guys on the team that are like, "Wah, I didn't like this guy trying to make me better at my job." Wah, wah, wah. So I don't know, man. Mike McDaniels is too. I like him. I think he's a talented offensive mind, but he's too much of a player's coach, in my opinion. I just don't think he could turn the heat up on his players when he has to. And I think that will show throughout the season. So I'm going under 9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Derek. 9 wins.
I mean, look, based on that interview, 2 is not going to want tough coaching.
And I felt this way about Mike McDaniel before that interview, by the way, for the record.
So this is really funny, and I want to share. I'll share my screen for you guys real quick, just because I think this is hilarious. So this is probably the worst screen share of all time, but that's okay. It only took Mike McDaniels 2 years in Miami for McDaniels to go from a Best Buy assistant manager to a South Beach cocaine kingpin.
I mean, I don't know what that look is.
Yeah, I know what that look is. My man is about to walk to the pool in some flip flops, smoke a Cuban, get a Cuban sandwich, or smoke a cigar down in South, in Miami somewhere. I don't know. That's what that looks like. I mean, I don't know. McDaniel, we'll see, man. I just think they're a paper tiger.
So as we have it on record, I have the over. Kyle has the over. Godfrey has the under. Where are you at, Brett?
I'm at the over, but barely. This is a team that every year falls apart in the second half of the year as soon as the weather even gets like slightly cold. So I think they get off to a hot start, then falter really bad down the stretch. And by over, I'm with Eugene. I think like 10 wins.
They did bring in Calais Campbell, who's like 74. Jordan Poyer. So they should be, they should be a little better defensively. Jalen Ramsey's healthy. We'll see how that plays out for Miami. But I have them barely over. And now we have the leader in the clubhouse, the Buffalo Bills. I have the most mixed reactions on the Buffalo Bills. Most mixed reactions on the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott's a defensive guy. Their defense looks like it's going to suck. Matt Milano's out for the year.
Again.
Bicep injury.
Yep.
Josh Allen lost Stephon Diggs. I think Josh Allen might win MVP. I think it's one of those things. It's not my official pick for MVP, but it's one of those things where I think the offense is going to put up a lot more points than you expect them to. And I think the defense is going to be a little bit better than you expect them to do. I still have them under 10.5. But I will tell you this. Dalton Kincaid will be a top 3 tight end in football going into next year. He will be the number 1 target in Buffalo. And if you play fantasy football, overdraft Dalton Kincaid. The guy was an absolute stud at Utah. One of the best route runners I've ever seen come out of college football. We talk about Brock Bowers being drafted 13. I had Dalton Kincaid rated higher. I'll take the under for Buffalo. I think they go 9-8. But I think Josh Allen has one hell of a season. Kyle, where are you at on this one?
I mean, I guess once again I'm with you because I think they're like an 8-9 win team. I think this is a division that is going to be pretty close to the top where, Miami and the Jets are like 10-win teams. And I think Buffalo makes it interesting as an 8-9 win team. I just wonder, because they took Diggs away, like you said, that he should focus with Kincaid. Like, will they be more committed to running the ball as well with, Cook? I don't know. Because I do think they probably need to be more balanced. Because my biggest thing with Josh Allen is when he starts throwing the ball around too much, he has like 3 or 4 passes a game where he just does his little arm punt and will just throw the ball downfield and like triple coverage for like no reason. Like if he takes that out of his game, then I think they could be pretty good. But yeah, I'll have them as an 8-9 win team, but I think they'll be competitive. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they go over, but I'm still with 8-9 right now.
Guardy 3, over under 10.5 wins.
I think the over under could be 9.5, and I'd still go under. I don't like this team. I really don't. Milano's done for the year. That's huge again. This offense, it doesn't look great. Anthony's asking about a James Cook breakout year. The Buffalo Bills have given me zero indication playing with Josh Allen that they're committed to running the football. So I'll have to see that before I believe it. I think they're going to put too much on Josh Allen, and they're going to lose a lot of games that way. Granted, they're going to win a lot of games that way as well. And if he gets anywhere near that 10.5 win total, if he gets to 11, he's the MVP. But overall, I think this is an 8-win team.
They have DeMar Hamlin listed as their starting free safety right now. A guy that they said was only on a football roster last year because he died on the football field, listed as their starting free safety. That's wild to me.
Yeah. I'm going to have a wild take on this for you guys. So.
Well, you're up.
I'm going over. And I'm going to tell you why. Listen. For you to have a competitive team, what's the over? 10.5?
10.5.
You got to have the quarterback. Doesn't matter. Everything else is garbage if you don't have a good quarterback. Now, that's not to say that it's going to heal the defense. I like some of their draft picks. I like Keon Coleman. A lot of people are down on him because people overvalued a 40-yard draft. Look at the other drills where he excelled in the combine. I like Khalil Shakir. I think he's unheralded. He had some good production down the stretch last year, and people are discounting this kid, and I think he's going to produce that again. I like the offense. I think they're going to score a lot more points than people are used to. I think you're going to see the ball spread around. I think you're not going to have the Stephon Diggs influence of get me the ball over the shoulder of everybody there. And, I think that, they're going to have to play the game of, they're going to have to outscore you and keep their defense off the field and have their defense playing from a position of a lead. I think they could do it. I mean, a lot of people are down on them. I heard the same thing last year, right? And I don't know if my mic went out on me, but for some reason it sounds like it did. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yep.
So a lot of people are down on the Bills last year, and they had to pull it out of their behind at the end of the season.
Your mic went again.
I'm going over. I think I'm optimistic about their offense.
Let's move over to the NFC while Godfrey figures out his microphone situation. And we're going to start with the New York Football Giants. Over under sitting at 6.5. We'll start with Kyle Edwards. Where do you see this New York Giants team? 6.5 wins.
Now, just to say, they gave the Patriots 4.5 and the Giants 6.5. Are they in love with Daniel Jones? They loving Tommy DeVito? Is that that's what we're doing now? I gotta pick them for under, even though defensively they're pretty good. But
that's why. Why they have a top. I'll tell you right now. I'll make something very clear to you. They have a top 10 in the league front seven in football between Dexter Lawrence, between Bobby O'Keefe. I can't say his last name ever. Kayvon Thibodeau, and then you brought in Brian Burns from Carolina. That team's front seven is going to give teams issues. So that's why. But go ahead. Continue your rant on why the Giants won't win 16.
It's just like I don't like their quarterback position. And 2024 it's a league of quarterbacks. So unless you're going to tell me their defense is going to stop everybody and hold them to like 10 points a game, and that could be pushing it for this Giants offense. They have Malik Neighbors as wide receiver, but somebody's got to get it to him. And until I see Daniel Jones play like the guy that they, gave the contract or whatever, that they're forced to play, that they took higher than they should have, I cannot see them winning 7 games. I just can't.
You know why they're not going to win 7 games? watch Hard Knocks off season and listen to that GM talk. They were talking about re-signing Saquon Barkley. I'm like, well, Devin Singletary only got $2.5 million last year. If you're comparing Saquon Barkley with Devin Singletary, you're more of a moron than I thought you were. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Giants setup. Daniel Jones has thrown multiple interceptions already this preseason. Apparently, he's thrown 16 in training camp. I don't care about training camp stats, but I'm going way under. I think this Giants team stinks. And I think that, unfortunately for Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders fans, I think this will be the end of the front office in New York. And unfortunately for Brian Daboll, I think he ends up losing his job because of a terrible front office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Brian Daboll wasn't. I would have been more entertained if Brian Daboll played a role more like the coach did in what's that movie with Kevin Costner, Draft Day?
Yeah.
I would be more entertained if he did that because, and how he needs a quarterback, or that coach said he had a quarterback, but like he needed to have some passion. Like, and if I was there, I'd be like, dude, come on, like my job's on the line here. You're gonna give me Daniel Jones again? For fuck's sake. You know what I mean? And he seems a little too relaxed because, unfortunately, the way football works is whether you have the quarterback or not, he's not going to get another year. And if this team doesn't win, especially after the Saquon debacle, if the Eagles roll on the Giants, I see that GM's out. I mean, look, if I asked you would you be surprised if I told you Daniel Jones had 700 rushing yards in 2022?
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
He did. So 2022, 700 rushing yards. He had 120 carries for 700 rushing yards and 7 TDs. He had also 3,200 yards, 15 TDs, and 5 interceptions. Highest rating ever, I guess, for a season was 92. QBR 62.9. So my point is certain teams make a mistake and they can move on quickly, and certain teams die on the hill. So I am like a fast food restaurant. That was good. Now I'm too loud. So certain teams want
your microphone situated, bro.
I don't know what's going on, dude. I think it's my headphones just dying on me like mid-show, literally. Because the mic is fine. I can tell you that. It's the headphones.
You're going up and down and up and down.
Yeah. So
Guardian anyway. 3. Who do you like over under for New York Giants?
If the Giants even had like a mediocre quarterback in, I would actually pick them on the over. I love their defense, and I think they are starting to figure out something of an offense. I do enjoy their receivers. I think Malik Neighbors is legit. I think Jalen Hyatt has a lot of potential. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is actually serviceable as a number 3. But it all comes back to the quarterback. I'm going to take the under, and it's unfortunate because I think this could be a good football team if they just had even decent quarterback play.
All right, well, I'm going to move right into the Commanders. Over-unders at 6.5. Rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. Brian Robinson coming back. He'll be their starting running back. And they just made a trade today. They traded Jahan Dotson, former first-round draft pick, to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's Howie season. I'm telling you that right now. And when this pick is all said and done, the Philadelphia Eagles will have moved down 40 total picks. Because the Philadelphia Eagles will draft near the end of the 3rd round, which is what they're giving the Commanders, and the Commanders will draft near the beginning of the 5th round. They basically swapped the 3rd for a 5th for Jahan Dotson. I am in love with this as an Eagles fan, but as a Commanders fan, I was kind of on the fence on this team, whether I was going to go over or under. I don't think they win 7 games. Dan Quinn's never proven to be a good head coach. He's normally a good defensive coordinator. Cliff Kingsbury has shown that he is a terrible coach. He's their offensive coordinator. I'll pass. I'll take the under for the Commies at 6.5 wins. I think there's some growing pains for this young quarterback. And I think when your number 1 wide receiver is Terry McLaurin, who's not a jump ball guy, he's a speedster, and you're relying on a rookie wide receiver in Luke McCaffrey, an aging tight end in Zach Ertz, a rookie tight end in Ben Sinnott and De'Ami Brown, former third-round pick that's been on the roster for a couple years.
Who?
I'm of the inclination that the Commanders do not win 7 games either. So I'm going to go under also for both the Giants and the Commanders.
I like I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's got a bright future. However, he's got one problem. He's connected to a Cliff Kingsbury, or as I like to call him, Cliff Dingleberry, because this guy is just like death to any good situation. And, remember the stories about him in the all season about, he was going to go to the Raiders, but I think he wanted a little too much control. And I think, the Commanders gave it to him. And by the way, as a Sixers fan, I can see this kind of mishmash made up because of who the owner is, who is the owners of the Sixers, Josh Harris. And I could totally see this as the basketball version of some of the stuff we've going on in Sixers world. And I'm just like, I think they're not setting this kid up for success already. I think Dan Quinn has shown to be. So the thing about it, I think Dan Quinn can be a good coach. The problem is I think he gets sabotaged by bad offensive coordinators a lot of time. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan was good, but then Dick Cotter sabotaged him pretty much at the end of that. And then, now he's in a situation where he's the head coach. But part of me thinks like maybe they hired him because
there goes his mic again.
He hates my microphone. That's why you hired him. But I think part of the reason they hired him is because he'll be a yes man and he'll be okay with whoever they put in as offensive coordinator. And I just don't know if Kingsbury's the guy. I don't trust him on the pro level, and this stinks of him. I don't understand why you get rid of Dotson unless he was in a trade involving Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I love it for the Eagles, but it doesn't make any sense.
All right, so we're both going under. Guardy 3, where you at?
Yeah, I got the under as well. I don't like the receiving group outside of Terry McLaurin, but just more than anything, I just hate their coaching staff. So I'm going to take the under.
I'm with you. Kyle.
I'm going under. Like, even looking at the schedule, their best bet might be 6 wins. That's if, Jaden Daniels really plays well as a rookie. I mean, look, I saw Dan Quinn in Atlanta. I'm not the biggest Dan Quinn guy either. So, yeah, give me the under.
Cowboys, 9.5. Guys, is this a trick to me? I know the Cowboys are a very good regular season game team. I know they've won a couple 12-win seasons in a row. Are we tricking ourselves to believe the Cowboys are going to win 10 games in this division because this division is bad with Washington and New York and possibly getting 4 to 5 wins in the division or trying to find a way to get them 5? CeeDee Lamb is still not in camp. What are we talking? 9.5?
I mean, if he's in camp, is it higher?
I got to remove you, dude. The mic is just too much. It wasn't even his mic with that. Whose mic is that? It might be Kyle's. There's like a loud buzzing, but besides the point, somebody's got to get that fixed. I don't know what that is. I'm going to mute everybody real quick.
That ain't me.
Okay. I'm going the under on the Dallas Cowboys. Also, this sounds so Philadelphia Eagles fan. Under on the Giants, under on the Commanders, under on the Cowboys. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that way. I just don't believe in any of these teams. The Dallas Cowboys went out and said they're all in this offseason and made officially one signing. What are we doing? They recently brought in Linval Joseph with no training camp. Linval Joseph isn't really the greatest, most in shape human being on the planet. I'm not a fan. I really am not. So I'm going to go under 9.5 for the Dallas Cowboys. Eric Kendricks was their only free agent signing. I guess they're going to rely on Deron Bland to repeat what he did and Trevon Diggs to just come back from his ACL injury. I don't see it. Give me the under for the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke, Rico Dowd, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert. I'm good. I'm going under.
listen, put some respect on Zeke. He said they got unfinished business this year. Unfinished business. Yeah, 9.5. I hate that. I'm cursed. I'm fucking cursed.
Kyle, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. Kind of like Jory said, I just don't see how they navigate their schedule and get over that number. The whole offseason stuff where, Dak needs money, CD needs money, and none of them seem like there's any traction with either of them. The Jerry Jones, who normally likes to go big and flashy in the offseason, didn't do that. And I just don't see how they put it all together and win. Was it over 9.5? No.
Yeah, 10 wins.
No chance. No way.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most wins I see is 9, and that's probably just because I think they beat the Giants and Commanders twice each, but I don't like their offense. I don't think they have a real run game, and I'm not sold on Ezekiel Elliott in 2024. I think their defenses will be good enough to keep them in a lot of games, but I just don't think they're going to be able to finish it. I think without a run game, you're going to put too much on Dak, and you're going to see bad Dak that turns the ball over a little bit more than he's used to this year.
I hate that we're all sweeping the under from the NFC East. Please go over, Godfrey.
9.5 is tough, right? I mean, that's a tough number, and they know what they're doing because they're putting in 9.5, so they want to get your money. I'll go over 9.5 because
Thank you.
I don't think they're going to definitely take a step back, but they're not going to win some of those games on like DeRon Bland's not going to have a season like he had last year. Their offensive line, they've lost some pieces. I don't know if Dak is. I mean, listen, man, you saw a lot. They got exposed in that Green Bay game, and Green Bay got up on them. And I've always said about Dak, if you can't play with the lead with Dak, like if Dak has to come from behind, he is screwed once it's 10 to 12, 13 points. To be fair, there's a lot of quarterbacks like that, but he's never shown the penchant to like push it down the field when he has to. So I just don't, I don't see them doing well, but I could see them eking out 10 wins in the NFC. I could definitely do that. Unfinished business with Zeke, by the way. Be afraid. Be afraid.
Philadelphia Eagles, 10.5 wins. I'll go last here. Godfrey starts off. Actually,
thanks.
You're an Eagles fan too. Guardy 3 starts.
10.5. I think this one's actually pretty easy too. I like the over. They really solidified that wide receiver 3 spot with the Dotson trade today. I absolutely love that. Their defense, I think, they'll bounce back from last year's, rough stretch at the end. Overall, I think this is still a really good football team, and I think that this is going to be probably an 11-12 win team, so I'll take the over.
Kyle?
I'm agreeing. I feel like with this division, it's like pretty cut and dry with these over-unders. I'm going to take the over as well. I think they do bounce back from last season. I was surprised by the Dotson move. I did not see the Commanders moving him, much less within the division, although it's been kind of a theme of this offseason for whatever reason. So, yeah, I think that further solidifies what they have on the outside, should make A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith's job even easier. So, yeah, I'll take the over.
Godfrey.
I'll take the over. I don't think it's a monstrous over, like where they're like 14 wins. I'll be conservative here and go 11 because I do think there can be some bumps in the road. Things got to get worked out. We got a new OC, a new DC, so I'll go over for sure. I just don't think it's as smooth as some Eagles fans would like to believe it.
We're going to go over the full Eagles schedule on Birds Deep next week. I will go over also, but I will not give my win total because you'll have to wait until next week on Birds Deep as we go over I can't give you my wins and losses. I'm going to do it next week live on the show. I will tell you this. They win week 1 and they win week 1 handily. I don't think it'll be a close game. I think the Eagles bounce back this year, and I think that it'll be a very good year to be a Philadelphia Eagle fan, but I guess you could take that with a grain of salt. as I'm wearing an Eagles jersey. I'm
Take that,
normally a pessimistic Eagles fan. And I'm not picking the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. You'll have to find that out next week also. I do have my Super Bowl prediction. We'll all be giving those next week. We'll be running through our playoff teams, our top 7 playoff teams, and our Super Bowl predictions. But that is it for our over-unders. We finished the entire league. Next week, we'll be doing awards, MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, playoffs, and our Super Bowl prediction. Be prepared for that. But we have 10 minutes left, and this is perfect timing to go over the NFL Top 100. Guys, I'm going to read you back from 100 down, and I'm just going to go from 100 to 91, and I want you to tell me if anybody on this, that the first 10 stand out to you, like they should be higher or lower. 100, Zaire Franklin, linebacker of the Indianapolis Colts. 99, Levante David. 98, Cam Hayward. 97, Terry McLaurin. 96, Deion Dawkins. 95, Julian Love. 94, Trevor Lawrence. 93, Harrison Smith. 92, Aaron Rodgers. 91, Tariq Woolen. Any names stand out to you guys?
I mean, off the top of my head, it feels like Levante David should probably be a little higher.
Okay.
Overall, I think that's a perfectly fine first 10.
Yeah, I'm fine with that group.
Aaron Rodgers is way too low for me, but that's probably he only played one game last year. Want to talk about somebody else? Too low. Number 90, Devontae Smith. 89, Budda Baker, way too high. Chris Lidstrom, 88. Hassan Reddick, 87. Saquon Barkley, 86, way too low. Kristen Wirfs, 85. DK Metcalf, 84. Derwin James, 83. Montez Sweat, 82. Kirk Cousins, 81.
I mean, Kirk Cousins 81. I don't know. I'll probably back that up a little bit.
Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers? What?
I mean, Jalen Johnson
Kirk Cousins couldn't wash Aaron Rodgers' drawers.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson didn't even get to the top 100, right? I mean, I think he's worthy of the top 100.
Jalen Johnson better be on this list.
I don't think he's in the top 100. I'm pretty sure he's not.
So insane if he's not.
Yeah, at first I was all right with Rodgers since he only played like 3 snaps last year, but yeah, no, if Kirk's 81, then he should definitely be higher than Kirk.
Number 80, Sam Laporta. 79, Minkah Fitzpatrick. 78, Kyron Williams. 77, Trey Hendrickson, followed by Dre Greenlaw, Justin Herbert, Jesse Bates, Jeffrey Simmons, Garrett Wilson, and Laramie Tunsil to roll out the 70s.
I mean, Herbert didn't really have a good year last year, and he had some injury too. I don't know how.
He's down 43 places from last year.
Yeah, but I almost feel like the players feel like, oh, you got to get certain players in there, and there shouldn't most of it be based off last year. Yeah, he's down 43 places. I get it, but like, I don't know. I'm not mad he's in the top 100. I just don't know if he's in there. Should be like toward the tail end. I think.
I feel like you could argue Garrett Wilson, Jeffrey Simmons, and Jesse Bates could be higher.
I completely agree with you, especially when I read out Amari Cooper 70. Well, I think Garrett Wilson's better than Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp 69. I'll take Garrett Wilson over Cooper Kupp right now. Daniil Hunter 68. Teron Armstead 67. Brandon Ayuk 66. Jordan Poyer 65. Patrick Queen, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, Justin Matabuke, rounding out the 61 through 70.
All right. Yeah, I think I would take Garrett Wilson over every receiver that was just named in that.
I'll take Jalen Waddle, barely.
Yeah, I'd take Wilson over Ayuk, but yeah, not Waddle.
But Garrett Wilson had a Waddle. It's close. Garrett Wilson, I think he breaks out this year, and I think he passes Jalen Waddle, but I understand why Waddle's ahead of him on this list.
Oh, yeah, it's close. I'm not mad either way, but man keeps, putting up production with some really subpar quarterback play like Zach Wilson. So I'm really excited to see what he does with a hopefully full year of Rodgers.
Number 60. This is so disgustingly bad. Raheem Mostert. He shouldn't be on the damn list. Bobby Wagner
last year,
shouldn't be on the list. Christian Wilkins, underrated. Justin Simmons, underrated. Stephon Diggs, Brian Burns, Jonathan Allen, Zach Martin, Patrick Surtain. How's PS2 52? That's wild. Keenan Allen 51.
Yeah, I just keep looking at that Bobby Wagner one. Unfortunately, this is a 2024 list and not a 2014 list.
He had a lot of tackles last year, though.
Oh, that's great. Let's go look at his coverage stats real quick. They're freaking terrible.
PS2 being 52 is disgusting to me.
Well, Mozart had 18 touchdowns last year. I mean, I
don't care what he had. He's not a top 60 player in football. Let me ask you a question. You think the Dolphins would rather have Jalen Waddle or Raheem Mostert?
Definitely Waddle.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Mike McDaniels might say Mozart because he's weird.
No, because he has Devin a chain. All right. Number 50, Rashawn Gary goes from unranked to top 50. Derrick Henry, 49. Jared Goff, 48. Aiden Hutchinson, 47. Antoine Winfield, 46. Jamar Chase, 45. What the hell are we doing? Demario Davis, 44. Kyle Hamilton, 43. Matthew Stafford, 42. Lane Johnson, 41. I'm going to make a statement right now. They overrate quarterbacks on this list, and it's disgusting to me.
They always do
that. Matthew Stafford is a better player than Jamar Chase. You are out of your friggin' mind.
See, these lists are so bipolar. Like, is it based off last year? Is it based off overall career, the last 3-4 years? Like, and it seems like every pick has a different flavor to the reasoning, right? Like, Jamar Chase obviously should be a better player, but he did have not his best year last year, not all due to his fault. But, quarterback play, he had an injury he dealt with. I agree, he should be higher on the list, but, there's no season to the reason for these lists sometimes. They drive me nuts.
Oh,
Jalen Johnson's not on this list, bro. I'm telling you, he's not on this list, which is wild. He's not on this list.
Well, wait do you hear how bad this list gets? Number 40, Devontae Adams. Number 39, Joe Burrow. Number 38, who I would have in my top 10, Sauce Gardner. 37, Quinnen Williams. 36, Tua Tagovailoa. Are you out of your goddamn mind that you have Tua over Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner? Are we out of our mind?
Tua, man.
Josh Hines Allen, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 35. Jordan Love, 34. Puka Nacua, 33. Quincy Williams, 32. Deron Bland, 31. This list gets worse as we go on.
This is voted by the players, right?
I don't know.
Right?
Two at 36 is wild to me.
So bad.
That's crazy.
I thought you guys are going to break something. Number 30, Deebo Samuel. Number 20 over Jamar Chase. Number 29, Khalil Mack. Once again, this isn't 2016. 28, Brock Purdy. 27, Nick Bosa. 26, Mike Evans. 25, Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey moved up 11 slots and he didn't play last year. Dexter Lawrence, 24. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 23. Penei Sewell, 22. A.J. Brown, 21.
Oh, wow. That is bad.
Seeing Ramsey at 25, the fact that we passed Kyle
Hamilton. Gardner is below.
Well, yeah, Hamilton, Gardner, and those guys were late 30s, early 40s, and Ramsey's up at 25.
Can I say one thing? It says
yes.
National Football League. So the top 100 is chosen by fellow NFL players. The rankings are based on an off-season poll organized by the NFL, where players vote on their peers based on their performance. Here's my theory on these, why they're so out of whack. They vote for dudes that they played with in college, maybe in high school or on a team, and they get a bump. Why is Tua so far up, right? And I
Oh my
bet you,
God!
if
Waiting
you,
to hear top 20.
if you talk about big colleges,
Sick.
connected to the big colleges, they've got a lot of pros in there. I bet you could be like, oh, Tua's up. There's a lot of Alabama players in there. I bet you they gave him a vote.
CJ Stroud 20, Roquan Smith 19, Justin Jefferson 18, Micah Parsons 17, Dak Prescott 16, Jalen Hurts 15, George Kittle 14,
I'm gone. I'm leaving.
CeeDee Lamb 13, Josh Allen 12, Fred Warner 11.
Dak Prescott 15. I'm being trolled right now. This is bullshit. I don't believe. Let me see this list. Send it to me right now, Gene.
Number 10.
Joey says better than Micah. In what world is he better than Gardner, Jay Jettis? I mean,
here's the top 10. We'll go one at a time. Tell me if you have an issue with it. Max Crosby, number 10. I do not.
I don't think he's great, but I think 10 is high. But
sure. I mean, I'm fine with it. Max Crosby is an absolute animal. Travis Kelce, number 9. I think it's a little overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But the Swifties, they love this man.
TJ Watt, number 8. I'm fine with it.
Beast. Yeah. Game record.
Trent Williams, number 7. I'm fine with it.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, number 6. Little high, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'll say, yeah, I don't hate it. So
here's where I'm going to lose my fucking mind, guys. Here's where I'm going to lose my mind. Myles Garrett, 5. I'm okay with it. There's 4 players left. I'm not going to tell you who's who. Some of people might have seen this list already. There's 4 players left. Tyreek Hill, I'm mixing them up. Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, and Lamar Jackson. On 3, I want us all to say number 1.
I know.
On 3, I want us all to say number 1. Okay? I know who number 1 is, but I don't care. On 3, we're all going to say who's number 1. Are we good with that? Who's number 1 out of those 4 players? 1, 2, 3. Mahomes. Mahomes.
I mean, based off this list, I would go with Derek based off the list. If Lamar was number 1, it'd be like, it makes a lot of sense based off of how this list has been going.
Number 4, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Must be a lot of Louisville or Mac alum.
He won 3 Super Bowls. He just won the Super Bowl with Marquez Valdez-Scantling,
McCole Hardman,
Rashee Rice, and Mecole Hardman. I didn't know what a Rashee Rice was until last year.
He had Kadarius Toney too. You know.
Number 3, Run CMC. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. And number 1, the guy who left a Super Bowl winning team to not win a playoff game, Tyreek Hill. I don't have any issue with Tyreek Hill being top 4. I have an issue with him being ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Are we about winning?
Was pregnancy rate factored into this? Because, I mean, he's the GOAT. I mean, if that's what we're talking about, or child support payment, if he's child support per season, I mean, Tyreek Hill is, whew, I mean, you got to put him number 1 then. He's got all those rings. What's wild to me is Patrick Mahomes helped make Tyreek Hill, and Patrick Mahomes still succeeded without Tyreek Hill. So a lot of people were saying, and I thought he'd take a step back. They still managed to win it, and it was against my team. Yeah, it sucked, but it was the win's the win, man. Patrick Mahomes is number 1 by far. This is probably the most fraudulent list I've ever heard. And by the way, Lamar and Dakota should not be in the top 20. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know he won MVP. Maybe that gives him a little bump. But if we're talking overall players, not quarterbacks, there's 20 players at least that I would take ahead of both of those players. If we're just talking any position, pound for pound player, I mean, Lamar.
I shouldn't have did this list.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I don't know, man. Tua at 36.
Jalen Johnson didn't make the list. He's a better player than Dak Prescott, who's 16.
I knew about that because they asked him about it on Hard Knocks, and I was like, that can't be real. And they were like, how do you feel about not making the top 100? You know what this tells me? That players can't also be GMs, right? Or
Guys, I don't know why I don't have a professional job somewhere. I'm not saying I need to be an analyst. I think I'm good at that. But if this is evaluating talent, I don't know how this happens.
It's a popularity contest. That's what
I could argue all of the defenders that were in the top 10, I would take over Lamar Jackson.
100%.
You can't tell me that Lamar is a better player than Myles Garrett.
Was Kyle Hamilton not on the list?
No,
Kyle Hamilton is like 40 something.
Yeah, I think it was like 41.
Yeah.
There's quarter. I mean, Brock Purdy. All right, fine. Give him his roses.
No.
I don't think you should be.
No. I have nothing against Brock Purdy. You can't be ahead. No.
To it.
Guys, I'm not like trying to be an asshole. If you walked onto a football field and said, is Jalen Johnson a better cornerback or is Brock Purdy a better quarterback? What do 100 out of 100 people say?
Say it. Yeah, that one's easy.
Yeah.
You know how they should do this top 100? They should get all the players together and do a Madden draft, right? And then your team plays every team, simulates it, and see who wins that out, or something like that. Because I don't get it, man. Like, it's a popularity contest. Like, I'm blown away. Jalen Johnson not being on the list, it makes the list illegitimate. Dak Prescott tells me that a lot of these dudes grew up as Cowboy fans, and they just overvalue him, and I'm like, Dak Prescott? I mean, dude, he got whooped in the playoffs.
Patrick Mahomes being number 4, like, it completely devalues the list.
Yeah.
Like, it does. That's it, guys. Guys, I need to eat. I'm hungry. I'm annoyed. I'm tired. That is insane to me. How in the world is Patrick Mahomes in any list that you have on any planet not the number 1 player in the world? Oh, and by the way, don't get me started about the moron from the Flag Football League that said he's better than Patrick Mahomes. Are we out for a friggin' what are we doing right now?
People aren't grounded. Listen, he needs to I would be like, listen, I need you to dominate the XFL. You're not jumping from flag football to the NFL first, my guy. Like, let's get to 11 on 11 and see what you could do there. Okay?
And then you watch his throwing form, and it looks like the worst thing ever. I think Uncle Rico had better mechanics than that dude throwing the football.
It just screamed Brucey from Longest Yard when he was like, "Why can't I be quarterback?" And he gave him the ball. I was like, "That's why." And then like all the NFL players came in, and he was like, "No, I'll never play." That's clearly what that guy was doing. He's trying to keep his position.
He said because of IQ. What?
That's called knowing the room or knowing your audience. Even if you believe that, keep that to yourself and know that you're not going to win that argument. Just keep that thought to yourself. Have that inner confidence, my friend, and keep that to yourself. And when you do show it on the field, you can roar like a lion or never talk at all because it probably won't happen. But keep it to yourself. Like, I don't know.
Anthony says I completely ignored that top 100. I don't think it's Jim at all. Guys.
I think that list was very demure. No, I'm just joking.
Dude, we're not doing this shit right now. I'm done. I'm done. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Sideline to Sideline. But I am, on behalf of any sane football fan, Patrick Mahomes, number 1 player in football. I don't give the rest of the list is terrible, but you cannot have Patrick Mahomes not number 1 in football.
Who are you starting a franchise with tomorrow if you had to pick? It's Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
That's it. Everybody else, and that's the simple question. You're going to start it with Lamar? Okay, be my guest.
I don't even care if you tell me I got to start with a defensive player. I'm starting with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You want me to start an NBA franchise? I'm starting with Patrick Mahomes.
I'll take Brucey over. If I have to take a defensive player, I'll take Brucey from the longest yard and then take Patrick Mahomes at pick 2 or something.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning to Sideline to Sideline this week. Any final thoughts, Kyle Edwards?
No, I mean, after that list, I don't know anymore.
I just wanted to have fun.
I know, but it's like apparently what we watch on football like every week clearly doesn't matter if the players think that this is how the hierarchy should go with the players. It's crazy to me.
Was there a
Good thing
Patriot on
they
that list?
don't go for MVP.
Was there a Patriot on that list?
Hey man,
I'm just
number
curious.
101.
That was a stray.
Okay,
There's
number
no
101.
It was a real question. I didn't know, but I guess it's rough in New England right now.
Number 101. I'll take that.
The clam chowder smells bad.
Any final thoughts? I know Guardy 3 is about to go live in like 30 more minutes for N1 podcast.
Yeah, check us out on N1. I'll be talking about my top 20 players going into 2024. Hopefully, I can do a better list than that. So tune in, see if I can do better.
Guardy 3 being like top 20 players in the NBA. Number 1, Chris Middleton. Like that's how bad that list is. Sorry. Godfrey, any final thoughts?
No. Players are idiots. That's my final thought.
My final thought is Patrick Mahomes, the best player in the NFL. And if you don't think so, I don't know. You need your head re-screwed. Because that man took a roster last year with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Rashee Rice, and Kadarius Toney with Mecole Hardman to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony wants you to read his last 2 comments. He said, Kyle, can you read my last 2 comments?
I mean,
I'm a Dolphins fan, man, and they put my quarterback ahead of Patrick Mahomes just because of his performance last year stat-wise when Mahomes won the Super Bowl. That's embarrassing that the NFL put Tua, who hasn't won a Super Bowl, over Patrick Mahomes. They didn't put Tua over Patrick Mahomes. They put
It was Tyreek
Hill.
they put Tyreek Hill.
But regardless, thank you guys for tuning in this week to Sideline to Sideline. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. That's taking a D with D Godfrey. He's not guarding the 2, he's guarding the 3. And Integrity Sports own Prince Production, Kyle Edwards. We are